Let me take you back to a night that started with me trying to stretch $12 at a gas pump and ended with my son and me standing in front of a house so big I thought I'd accidentally driven into someone else's life. I'm changing every name and location because this version is ours, but the heartbeat is real. And if you've ever wondered whether a small act of kindness can hit like a domino and change everything for two people at once, then yeah. You're about to see how. My name's Jordan Hale. I'm a single dad to an 8-year-old boy named Miles, and for the last 3 years it's been just us. His mom didn't die. She didn't vanish in a storm. She just left. One plain Tuesday morning she wrote a note, packed a suitcase, and walked out while I was already at work. Miles was at school. We came home to a quiet apartment and a closet that looked like someone had erased half the world. I carried anger about that for a long time. Now I carry something else, something heavier and quieter, responsibility. When you're raising a kid alone, you learn to stop expecting help. You learn to move through life like you're holding a tray that can't tip, no matter how bad your arms shake. We live in a small place on the edge of Cincinnati. It's not glamorous, but it's ours. The living room is also the dining room. The kitchen table is Miles' homework desk and my bill-paying station. The couch is older than I am and complains every time you sit too hard. But the place is clean, safe, and full of the kind of little routines that keep you sane: Saturday pancakes, nightly reading, movie marathons when I can actually stay awake. I work construction during the day and stock shelves at a grocery store at night, and that schedule turns your weeks into a blur of alarm clocks and microwaved leftovers. It means I'm gone a lot. It means my back hurts in 3 new ways every month. It means I miss some school events I'd die to be at. Our neighbor, Ms. Lorna, watches Miles on my evening shifts, and she's sweet with him, but there's still a sting when I see my kid fall asleep to someone else's voice because I'm out there stacking cereal boxes so the lights don't get shut off. Miles is the best part of all of it. He's that kind of kid who makes you proud and scared at the same time, because you can see his engine running faster than the road you can afford to put under him. He takes apart broken electronics I bring home from yard sales, spreads the pieces out like he's doing surgery, and puts them back together like he's been doing it his whole life. He's obsessed with how things work. His teacher told me last semester, "That boy thinks like an engineer." I've replayed that sentence in my head 100 times when I'm too tired to stand. Miles wants to build bridges when he grows up. Not little toy ones, real ones. "I'm gonna build bridges that never fall down, Dad," he says, completely sure. I always tell him, "Yeah you are, buddy," and then I go right back to the part one don't say out loud: how do I get him there on a paycheck that barely covers rent and groceries? Now, that night. It was a Thursday, and Thursdays are always the rough ones for me. The money gets thin, the fatigue gets thick, and you start counting every gallon like it's a chess move. I'd gotten held late at the grocery store because a truck rolled in behind schedule. By the time I clocked out it was almost 11 p.m. I was thinking about Miles asleep on the couch, about the science project we planned to work on the next day, about how my gas light had been blinking for 2 days and I was playing chicken with it. I pulled into a little Valero station off the highway. The kind with buzzing fluorescent lights that make everything look pale and tired. I grabbed the nozzle, reached into my pocket, and pulled out the sad stack of bills I'd been carrying all week. I counted it once, $12.07. Counted again like maybe it would stretch if I stared hard enough. It didn't. I sighed and told myself it was fine. Enough to get through tomorrow. I slid my card anyway, hoping maybe I could do a full tank and let future me deal with the overdraft. The screen flashed green. I felt my shoulders drop. I started pumping. And then I heard someone crying. Not sniffles. Not a quick wipe-your-face cry. Real sobs. Quiet, heavy ones. I turned my head and saw a silver SUV parked near the air pump, clean enough to reflect the station lights, and beside it on the curb sat a woman with her head in her hands. She looked mid-50s, maybe early 60s. Nice coat. Nice bag. Hair that had clearly been styled earlier, now falling loose like she'd stopped caring halfway through the day. She had money. You could tell. But her face looked like someone had folded her in half. People walked past her without even slowing down. Two guys grabbed energy drinks and went inside. Another customer pulled out and didn't look left once. I should tell you the honest truth, my first instinct was to look away. Not because I'm heartless. Because I'm tired. Because I've learned that stepping into someone else's storm can cost you things you don't have to spare. But then something hit me in the chest, not guilt, more like recognition. I know that posture. I know that kind of quiet collapse. I've had nights where I sat in my car after work staring into the dark and wondering whether I had enough left to keep doing this tomorrow. So I shut off the pump. Walked over slow. Hands open. Voice low. Hey, ma'am. You okay? I said. Do you need help? She snapped her head up like she didn't expect anyone to notice her. Her eyes were red. Mascara smeared into dark trails down her cheeks. She looked angry for a second, like being seen was an insult, then embarrassed, then exhausted. I'm sorry, she whispered. I didn't mean to. I'm fine. I don't know where else to go right now. I didn't ask a bunch of questions. I didn't do the awkward, are you sure, dance. I just sat down on the curb next to her. Concrete was cold through my jeans. My knees cracked. My back complained. I didn't care. You can't see someone drowning and first check your shoes. Sometimes we all need a minute, I said. I'm Jordan. She swallowed hard. Vivian, she said. Vivian Cross. We sat in silence for a second. The air smelled like gasoline and wet pavement. The station lights buzzed over us like angry insects. Cars slid in and out behind us, people locked in their own little missions. Then her words came out like a dam cracking. I buried my son today, she said, staring straight ahead. Her voice was flat in that way only real grief makes it. And everyone keeps saying I'm strong. That I'll be okay. That time heals. But nobody knows what they're saying. They don't know what this feels like. I felt my throat tighten. I'm so sorry, I said. She nodded once, eyes glassy. His name was Daniel. 27. An architect. Brilliant. He used to build cities out of Legos when he was a kid and tell me he'd make buildings that lasted forever. She let out a broken laugh that didn't sound like laughter. He was working late downtown when part of a renovation site collapsed. A structural beam failed. He was trapped. I sat in a hospital waiting room for 3 days praying for a miracle that didn't come. My husband died 5 years ago. Daniel was everything I had left. There aren't words you can throw at something like that. So I didn't try. I just stayed there with her, because sometimes that's the only thing you can do, be a witness to the pain so it doesn't have to sit alone. After a minute I pulled my wallet out and took out the photo I keep folded inside, soft and worn from being opened too much. It's Miles on his last birthday, missing a front tooth, grinning like the whole universe belongs to him. I handed it to her. This is my boy, I said quietly. Miles. 8 years old. He wants to be an engineer. He says he's gonna build bridges that never fall down. She took the photo carefully, like it was fragile. Her face softened just a little. He's got his father's eyes, she murmured. Then she looked up. Where's his mother? I hesitated. She left, I said. 2 years ago. Vivian blinked, surprised. Her eyes flicked down to my hands when I tucked the photo back in, calloused, nicked, the hands of someone who works with them and doesn't get paid enough for it. You look exhausted, she said softly. I let out a short laugh. 2 jobs. Construction in the day, grocery store nights. Neighbor watches him when I'm gone. She's good to him, but it's not the same as me being there. That must be so hard, she whispered. It is. I shrugged the way dads shrug when they're trying not to sound scared. But we get by. He's a great kid. Smart as anything. Always building. Always asking why. His teacher says he's got real talent. I paused, then said the thing that's usually stuck behind my teeth. I just wish I could give him more. Better schools. Science camps. Those kits he stares at in store windows. Sometimes we're late on the electric bill and he does homework by candlelight. He never complains. But I see it. Vivian stared at me a second like she was putting pieces together. Then she said, "You know what I see when I look at you, Jordan?" I shook my head. I see a man who doesn't have enough for a full tank, but still had enough heart to stop. Her voice steadied. Daniel was like that. He volunteered at kids' hospitals. He said kindness was the only real legacy. Small acts. Everyday compassion. That's what makes a life matter. She wiped her cheek. Sitting here with you. I feel like I'm hearing his voice again. We talked for another hour. She told me about Daniel's childhood dreams. I told her about Miles building a suspension bridge out of popsicle sticks that somehow held a stack of textbooks. She laughed, real laughter, and for the first time I saw her shoulders loosen. Time got strange. 1 minute we were strangers, then we were two people tethered by grief and hope. Eventually she stood up, took a deep breath, and smoothed her coat. I should let you get home. I checked my phone and my stomach dropped. Midnight. I'd promised Miles I'd be back by 10. Yeah. I'm late. Before I could walk away, she reached into her purse and handed me a glossy business card. Call this number tomorrow morning, she said. I looked at it. Malcolm Rowe, attorney at law. Ma'am, I don't need a lawyer. Her mouth curved into a small, thoughtful smile. Just call. Ask about the Cross Foundation education program. Promise me. Something in her tone felt like more than a suggestion. Like a lifeline she wanted me to grab. I nodded. Okay. I promise. She squeezed my hand. Thank you for seeing me tonight, she whispered. You reminded me there's still good worth staying for. I drove home in a fog. I slipped into the apartment quietly. Ms. Lorna was on the couch worried. Miles was asleep beside her with a blanket half off. I apologized, kissed his forehead, and went to bed with that card on my nightstand like a question mark. Next morning, I'm lacing up my boots for work when Miles runs in wide-eyed. Dad, there's a man at the door in a suit. I frowned. Tell him we're not buying anything. He says he's a lawyer, Miles whispered. He showed me an ID. My heart jumped. The card. I opened the door, and there he stood, older guy, perfect gray hair, navy suit that probably cost more than my car, briefcase, but kind eyes. Mr. Hale, he asked. I'm Malcolm Rowe. I represent Mrs. Vivian Cross. I blinked hard. Vivian from last night? He nodded. May I come in? I'll be brief. We sat in our tiny living room. Miles hovered close like a curious bird. Malcolm opened his briefcase and laid out a thick folder. Mrs. Cross asked me to meet you personally, he said. She told me about your conversation. About your son. About your situation. She was deeply moved. Sir, I started, if this is charity, I appreciate it, but... He lifted a hand gently. This isn't charity. Her son started a foundation to support kids with talent and need. She believes your son fits that mission. He slid the folder over. The Cross Foundation would like to offer Miles a full scholarship, private school through high school, and college later if he maintains his performance. Tuition, books, camps, transportation. Everything. I stared at the numbers like they belonged to another planet. We met her one time, I whispered. She met a man who chose kindness when he had every reason not to, he said softly. She met a boy who dreams of building bridges. She met exactly who this program was made for. Miles tugged my sleeve. Dad. Does that mean the science school? The one with the robotics lab? My throat closed. I pulled him into my lap and nodded. Yeah, buddy. That's what it means. Malcolm waited, then cleared his throat. There's more. More. I croaked. He placed a second set of documents on the table. Mrs. Cross has purchased a home in Oak Ridge. 4 bedrooms. A yard. And a workshop off the garage. She was specific about that. She wanted Miles to have room to build. For a second I thought I was being pranked. A home? For us? He nodded. Deed in your name. No mortgage. Taxes prepaid for 5 years. Maintenance fund included. I kept waiting for the catch. Why? I asked, voice shaking. Malcolm's expression turned serious. Because last night Mrs. Cross wasn't just grieving. She told me she was sitting in that parking lot after her son's funeral planning to end her life. She believed the world had no goodness left. Then you sat beside her. You listened. You handed her your son's photo. You reminded her why Daniel believed in people. She said you saved her life. The room tilted. I put my face in my hands. Miles climbed into my lap and wrapped his arms around my neck. I heard Vivian's words from the night before and finally understood how literal they were. Malcolm stood. The house is ready this weekend. She only asks to stay involved in Miles' education. She'd like to hear his bridge designs. She also wanted me to tell you Daniel would have liked you both. After he left, we sat there in stunned silence. Miles finally whispered, Dad. Did you really save her? I swallowed. I think we helped each other, Bud. Moving day came so fast my head spun. The truck looked almost empty because we didn't own much. When we pulled up, I thought I'd made a wrong turn. 2 stories, porch, trees, yard big enough for a kid to fly in. Miles stepped out and stared. Is this really ours? I checked the address like I didn't trust reality. Yeah, buddy. The workshop off the garage wrecked me. Tools hung neatly. A sturdy bench. A computer with beginner engineering software. A note, 4 Miles. Build something that lasts. Vivian. That night I tucked him into a bedroom bigger than our old apartment. He looked around like he couldn't believe the walls were his. Dad, he asked softly, when people are that sad, can kindness really fix it? I sat on his bed. It doesn't fix everything, I said. But sometimes it gives you enough light to take the next step. 2 weeks later Vivian came to dinner, simple dress, wildflowers, no armor. Miles walked her to the workshop first, talking bridge ideas like she was family. She watched him with tears in her eyes and a real smile on her face. I realized then she hadn't just changed our life. We were changing hers too. Grief doesn't disappear, but it can grow around something new. Before she left, she pulled me aside on the porch. That night I was done, she said quietly. You didn't know that. But you stopped anyway. You reminded me my son wasn't wrong about people. And I needed that more than air. I didn't have a clever answer. I just said, I'm glad you're still here. So that's what happened. A tired dad, a grieving mom, a gas station curb, and a moment of compassion that turned both our lives in a new direction. I don't think I'm special. I think I did what any decent person should do. But I also know not everyone stops. Not everyone sees the hurt right in front of them. So here's what I want you to wrestle with in the comments: if you were me that night, broke, exhausted, trying to get home to your kid, would you have walked past her? Would you have assumed the woman in the nice SUV didn't need anything from you? And if you were Vivian, would you have done what she did for a stranger, or would that feel like too much, too fast? Where's the line between kindness and responsibility, between helping someone and changing your whole life for them? Drop your thoughts below. Tell me what you would have done. Tell me about a time a stranger's kindness saved you, or a time you wish you'd stopped and didn't. If you believe the world needs more of that quiet, no camera, no credit goodness, hit like, subscribe, and share this story with somebody who needs a reminder that a simple, "Are you okay?" can be the bridge that keeps someone from falling. And I'll see you in the next one.